W's and L's, the weekly recap show where we give a dub to the things that we like and an L to the things that we don't. In the building is Marcus Too-Raw himself, y'all. Let's get a warm round of applause for our guy back for this edition of W's and L's.
It's good to see everybody, man. What's up, everybody? Marvelous Steve, what's going on? What's going on? Yeah, it's been a while, for sure. I appreciate y'all still rocking with us, rocking with Josh while he's been holding it down. My initial dub is definitely going out to him for holding it down while, I've been taking my sabbatical.
Appreciate you, brother.
Definitely wasn't something that I anticipated doing or wanted to do. We'll probably, at some point, we'll get into more details, but glad to be back now. Glad to be working with him. Been very happy with everything that's been going on since, I've been observing. Excited to get back to work. Sure. Dubs-wise, I missed y'all. I missed a lot to talk about. A lot to talk about. But I would be remiss if I didn't talk my shit.
Absolutely, man. The floor is yours.
My God, what has happened, the unspeakable, the unthinkable, the worst nightmare of every Buckeye fan in all of Central Ohio. The GD Wolverines don't want to.
See, when I said talk your shit and the floor is yours, I didn't expect this. I don't know why I didn't expect it.
A natty? Oh, man. It's just like, it's unexplainable. It really is. You don't understand that every time over the last 3 years, right, we had finally gotten over the Ohio State hump, started reasserting ourselves as being on top of the rivalry. And you know what the response was every year? Oh, you guys can't win a name. Doesn't matter. You're not going to win a playoff game. It's one of those things. But two, and the playoff game was versus the GOAT. It's just like at every turn where you would have been able to discredit, trip up, or put some kind of stink on this run, it just never worked out that way for the naysayers, as my boy Chris Fowler would say. You know what I'm saying? I wish a naysayer would. You feel me? Like, it was so beautiful at every turn. Suspend my man before Penn State. Don't matter. Duh. Oh, man. Interim coach versus Ohio State. Don't matter. Duh. Oh, Iowa, number one. Don't matter. Duh. Oh, shit. They scared to play. But they scared. They scared. These people tried to tell us that we was scared to play Alabama. I didn't hear none of them people. I didn't hear them. I didn't hear them people after the Rose Bowl. I did not hear them people when we retired the GOAT. Didn't hear them people talk about being scared of Bama. And then, after all that learning that the naysayers did all season, they still ain't learned shit. Still ain't learned a damn thing. Still had the nerve. After all of that, after all that they bared witness to, still had the nerve to pick Washington in the championship game. Imagine watching everything you seen from Michigan this year and thinking that what you got in that national championship game was anything different than what you should have thought was going to happen. Imagine seeing them going out there and beating Alabama and still having it in your mind, you know what? Washington's got it. Washington's got it. But God damn it, if your name ain't Pat McAfee, I swear to hell, it was just like, we're allergic to picture Michigan. But it just made it all the much sweeter to see them raise the crystal ball. The hell with a crystal ball for a recruit. The only crystal ball that matters is a natty crystal ball. And right now, that bad boy resides in Ann Arbor. Hail to the victors valiant. Hail to the conquering heroes. Hail to Michigan, the champions of the land, baby. Go blue!
I have a sneaking suspicion that you took this break just to formulate that. Just for that.
Oh, no.
Just to give that speech.
All of 90 seconds. You haven't gotten the least bit of reaction. Them video, I want everybody to know that I sent my official responses to not just the national championship, but the Rose Bowl a couple weeks ago over Josh. And they've yet to been posted in any way, shape, or form.
I didn't get anything. You sent me videos.
Yeah, that's a lie.
I didn't get
That's a lie.
anything.
That's a lie. But anyways, that's that. Hey, listen, we will save that for another day. I
No,
will.
no, no. I want to say congratulations because you guys did win the championship, and you did win it within the time allotted. Because now Buckeyes are back up a century, right? JJ's gone, Blake Corum's gone, Jim's probably gone. You got the championship during your window, so congratulations. Buckeyes up a
Well, Blake was a
century.
senior. We already knew Blake was going. JJ's been mocked as a first round pick, so yeah, you go.
He not gonna
You're
be
a first
Stroud
round pick
though. He not
quarterback.
gonna be. I know you see CJ Stroud though.
Well, I don't watch NFL, so once he gets drafted, it really
Oh, okay.
doesn't make
All
any
right.
difference.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. We'll see what he does at the next round. He's got to prove it just like any other guy, right? But yeah, if you're getting mocked to go in the first round, you should definitely go. So no beef with him. 3-0 versus Ohio State in the Natty. I'd say that's job well done. And at that point, it's up to you what you want to do with your future. In terms of a quarterback next season, I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Will Rogers is no longer going to Washington. We know that. So, and even with that, I don't think it's incumbent on us to go out there and chase down a new starting quarterback who's already started. Like most of the big teams that we'll be facing next year will have a brand new starter at quarterback. So, I think we'll be right in the same spot. Save you probably Texas. Everybody else is going to have a brand new quarterback. USC, new quarterback. Ohio State will have a new quarterback. Michigan State will presumably have a new quarterback. Oregon will have a new quarterback. They'll have Dylan Gabriel or Dante Moore. And then Washington will have a new quarterback, whoever the hell it is, because it ain't going to be Will Rogers. So
They'll have a new quarterback and a new coach, similar to y'all.
save you Quentin Ewers, which, will be a challenge early on in the season for sure. Save you that game. I think every other one will be in the same position as the guy standing on the other sideline. So,
I mean,
that's
we'll see. Your defense is only going to probably return.
Who we can figure it out because we the natty boys.
Will
Give
Johnson.
us that Georgia love. Yeah. Remember how y'all came into 2022? So, oh my God, Georgia looked so great in 2021. They got to be favored to win the championship in 2022. Give us that. Give us some of that.
I can't
I
do
want
that,
some of
sir.
that natty love. All of that deference that had y'all ranking Georgia number one week in, week out, all throughout the season, just for them to get ran in the SEC championship game versus Alabama. A team Michigan beat, by the way, in case anybody forgot that. Give me that same deference. Give my squad that same deference that you gave Georgia for all of this year. Because what y'all told me was, oh, they won the Natty last year, so until they lose, they number one. Bet. Because them replacing a starting quarterback didn't matter. Them having enormous amounts of defensive talent going to the NFL draft, which is probably what ultimately was their downfall in the SEC championship game, didn't matter. It didn't matter preseason. It didn't matter throughout the season until they lost. So until we lose, call me king.
Boy, they don't let the Ann Arbor niggas through the door. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, y'all should have never. I don't know what is
Jesus
wrong with
Christ. Gross.
y'all. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I didn't have an official list, but more so of things that I've missed that I've seen you guys discuss that I kind of wanted to pump back up and discuss with y'all because I didn't get a chance to do it. So I will call this one. I'm gonna call it a toss-up. I won't give it an L. Won't give it a dub. I appreciated that most of the responses to this situation wasn't negative for the most part. I appreciated that it kind of pulled the veil back. I'm always a fan of that kind of stuff, letting us see the celebrities in life that they don't want to be seen in. But I also was a little bit taken aback about how gullible people are and how willing we are to jump on somebody's bandwagon when they bring mess along with them. You know what I'm saying? And so if you haven't caught on by now, I'm definitely talking about the Katt Williams situation. The interview that he did on Club Shay Shay now 2 weeks ago. And man, I mean, a lot of hilarious sound bites. A lot of things that I believe are true, for sure. so much is confirmed by a lot of the people that came out. Let me just say first and foremost that the most embarrassing response to Katt Williams was by far Ricky Smiley. Like without question,
Yikes.
um,
Yeah, the crying.
it
What?
was God awful. Now, see, I didn't even really pay attention to the crying video because I thought that might have been an old video from when his son died and maybe he was having a
I did
reaction.
too.
But then I got to thinking, like, even if that's the case, why the fuck are you recording yourself crying and putting it on the internet? That's not a natural thing that people do.
Very weird.
But anyways, I was more so upset by the whole. Let me bring on my big brother in here to help me explain this situation, and then him even make it even fucking worse. That shit was fucking terrible. Why would you bring Ice Cube on here to try to fix this situation for you, make it sound better than what it is? Only for this nigga to look at you like you crazy in your face on your show and make it 10 times worse. Like, I think I was supposed to play Money Mike, and he was going to play my role of Santa Claus. Is that right? Is that right, Q? You like, yeah, I mean, we wanted you in the movie, like for sure. Like we didn't want to lose you, implying that like nigga, when Money Mike went to Mike Epps, your ass almost got cut. So we was really trying to figure out how a way to keep you in this without just axing you all together. You were the sore thumb, not Katt Williams. You. But if you don't leave this alone, the thing that really shocked me with Ricky was that like if you're not gonna take the route that maybe Said took, if you're not gonna take the route that Ice Cube took, like look, I got love for Katt, you're a crazy dude, loving, hilarious comedian. Let me clear this little bit up, like Ice Cube cleared the whole rape shit up, right? Right? Because Katt got a lot of love for that, for being the stand-up guy and the voice in the room against, brutalization of sexual assault victims in media and all that. And it turned out to be complete bullshit. It turned out to be complete bullshit, or according to Ice Cube, it's complete bullshit. And I will say, consistent with the media that I've seen Ice Cube put out, the closest thing he ever came to that paled in comparison to what Katt Williams described was going on in that studio. Right? Like it would have been far and beyond even what you've seen in the Players Club. In the Players Club, it was screams and a closed door. Katt Williams is trying to tell you that he was going to get taken on screen. You know what I'm saying? So like that's like a whole nother level of extreme that we've never even seen from that man. So if he coming out telling me that part is a blatant lie, but everything else is pretty much true, is facts, that's pretty much how I took it anyways. That's how I went into it in the onset.
Same.
Anybody else that says different is a fat faison liar.
That was a bar.
The sound bites were beautiful. Like it was one of the best interviews you'll probably have over the last decade. The problem with it is that there was a lot of falsehood in it as well.
Oh, sure.
There was a lot of hyperbole. There was a lot of exaggeration. There was some just flat out lies.
3,000 books in a year? That's a lie.
Yeah, Sam, why are you doing that? I was accepted into college at the age of 9, and the only evidence we can find on that is a column that he wrote on a blog website. The only verification that we have for this man being accepted into the University of Delaware at the age of 9 is a blog post that he wrote almost 10 years ago about the situation.
Must be true.
It's got to be true, right?
Yeah.
Just like, because he said he ran a sub 4.40 on Shay Shay and then got on a basketball court and showed y'all a stopwatch from some individual that said 4.47, that means he runs a 4. Josh, do you know how long an NBA court is in yards?
Not at the top of my head, no. But it's not 40 yards.
No. I did the work. You know? Because I didn't want to sit up here and look at this man running down a fucking baseline and compare that to a 40-yard dash. Because, my brain tells me that those measurements aren't exact. 40-yard dash, obviously, is 40 yards. A basketball court is 94 feet, which is about, 54 feet? 54 yards or so. So he runs a 4.47 running almost 10 yards farther than the 40. 31 yards, 10 yards less. Marte was right.
He fast. What do you want? He's the Flash. Katt Williams. He's Flash Williams.
It just bothered me that nobody did, because like he very obviously didn't do it on the football field, right? So I'm like, where it could be very plainly laid out and marked off so we could see him running it. And hell, maybe we can even put a laser pad down because you got enough money to buy a laser so we can get an accurate time. Or maybe the fact that we got a run through of Katt Williams, then they edit and a break on the video, and then some nigga walks to the camera and shows them the stopwatch. How gullible is everybody? The last thing and the most egregious shit, the one that I thought that the people that I'm going to mention next would have picked up on pretty readily, pretty easily, is the joke stealing claims. I'm not part of the comic community, so I can't really speak on how that stuff kind of works, right? With people stealing jokes and recycling material and stuff like that. Don't know how prevalent it is, but since this situation came out, I'm starting to feel like it's more common than what we're giving it credit for, and that maybe this situation was a little bit more exacerbated than what it needed to be, right? So the receipts get dropped pretty soon after Katt says what he says about said stealing his joke or riding in the car or whatever, blah, blah, blah. As I observe it, it looks like it is the same joke, different gag. Or same gag, different joke. Right? Same, we riding in the car, we playing the music over the loudspeaker, same gag.
There were parts that were similar.
Different joke. Right. So they're doing the same thing, they're just telling it differently. They're using different setups, using different words. That's what it is. So if that's joke stealing, then why the hell am I looking at this video of JB Smooth talking about all this stuff he can do to this song as he coming out on, coming out to his music at this old, like, Comic View looking stand-up show, whatever. It's a young JB Smooth from the 90s, right? Talking about how Superman could fly to this song. You can stand in line and wait for EBT to this song. You know what I'm saying? A handicapped man can walk down the street to this song. So then we fast forward to like 2005, 2006, Katt Williams telling the same joke to Every Day I'm Hustling. Same thing. Same gag, different application, different words, different joke. Well, Katt, if you're saying that's the same joke and that's joke stealing, man, all it took for me was to wait 2 days and let Corey Holcomb tell me that you stole a joke too. Or is he no longer a man of truth because he also did the shit too? It's one thing if you came out and you was like, you know what, I did a lot of stuff I wish I didn't do as a youngin'. I had some bad practices as a comedian, but I left that shit behind me. Some of these other comedians that y'all think is great is still doing that to today. Okay, cool. Because then at least some video coming out a couple of days after you said all that shit that you said, painting yourself as the most holier than thou, never took a handout in Hollywood ass nigga, and the stuff that you criticizing people for, you did the same shit. You did the same stuff, fam.
Yeah, that part of it's interesting. Like, I've definitely seen some people discussing things like when I was doing my research for what I've seen people talk about like stock jokes, which there may be some things that are very similar, but obviously you're supposed to kind of take it and make it your own. And then there's the whole, obviously some people just think similarly, which I don't know how much you take to that, but I think there's cases where a joke can be told and it can be similar, but then I think in the case of the Cedric the Entertainer thing, like, the whole dancing while you're driving and
I'm just gonna make heads or tails of it because it's not my profession. I'm just saying, do not put your foot down and call somebody a joke thief and try to criticize them for them when there is wax to prove that you have done the same shit. Like, there's footage of you doing the same thing. Other comics know that you've done the same thing. It doesn't matter that you paid for this amount of comics and never asked for anything back or never told nobody that you did it. It doesn't mean that you're a nice guy when you steal their jokes. If it's bad when somebody's doing it to you, it's bad when you're doing it to somebody else. And again, I can take you unearthing something like that if you gonna tell me up front, like, look, I did this foul shit too. Like, I ran off with somebody's joke too. JB Smooth probably wasn't nothing in early in the early 2000s. Well, I know he wasn't nothing. I didn't even know who a JB Smoove was. You know what I'm saying? But by that time, he had already been around for years. So you had taken an experienced comic who hadn't popped yet and used his material because you know nobody else was going to hear it in the sphere that you were saying it in. So you knew you were safe. You did the exact same thing that Cedric the Entertainer did.
Yeah.
Same thing.
That's wild. Yeah, for him to make a big deal about it is.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Agreed.
All that other shit, did he like to run in your butthole and all that other stuff? Hey, I did not hear nobody come out and talk about they was going to sue Katt Williams.
Facts.
So, I'll leave all that other stuff on there. But, man, I swear to God, Katt Williams was Superman for a week, and y'all was pissing me off with it. Y'all really making me mad.
Yeah, no, there was definitely Cap through that. And everybody was just taking everything he said as law. But he did say some facts. He absolutely said some facts. Did you see Tony Robinson's comment?
I think Steve's wig has been missing longer than Pearl's ass. Damn. Damn. Like, do you know the shock that I went through when I found out that was a wig? I said, what? Excuse me?
Destroyed the black community.
I went to the barber one time and said, let me get the Steve Harvey. that short socks that look like a wall in the front. I need that. Get that.
No, that's wild.
I have a fro. Yeah, no, I mean, I was taken aback. I ain't never seen no Afro wig. And if it's an Afro wig, it's going to be poofy. It ain't going to be all squared out like that with the perfect line up.
It's cool. We still got Jalen Rose's hairline.
Hey, man, it might be a unit. You don't know.
We'll see.
It might be a unit.
We'll see.
You know, he's still telling that story, too, about how he used to pay his barber this amount of money and all this other shit. And then when he made it big, he started paying him $1,000 a week or some shit to cut his hair. Because when I started, I was getting 4 haircuts a month. I was like, hey, Steve.
Wait, Steve said that?
Cut a wig that much, man. On his talk show, he was talking about how much he spent on haircuts from his barber, and his barber stayed down with him. When he finally hit it, he took care of him, and that was the entrepreneurial spirit that he showed, and to keep it going, and to stick with Steve until he made it big.
Yeah, no, that's nuts. Where's the barber? Where's the barber, fam?
Not a barber. It's a person who puts on prosthetic pieces in a costume set.
My point exactly. Where is he?
I know that I missed a lot of the Jonathan Majors decision and reaction stuff. You know, it kind of is what it is. I'm definitely upset by the decision. I think the foreman, if I'm being honest, from what I've seen and what I have reported, I think she swayed the decision. I think the only reason they were in there that long is because of her. But the one that was all too happy to announce the charges before the judge even got done reading his instructions.
Yeah.
She was all too happy and excited to blurt out the guilty verdicts. Yeah, it goes without saying that she swayed that decision. But in any case, pre-appeal, Jonathan Majors decided to go on an interview with Good Morning America. Good Morning America, of course, a show that belongs to the ABC network, which is a company under the Disney umbrella. So that obviously raised a bunch of eyebrows. And I took a long think on it, too, on whether or not it was something he should have been doing. I landed on best case scenario for Jonathan. He's able to have his side of the story put out for the record, or at least for the public record. And he has a chance to try to stave off some of this public character assassination that's going on. And worst case scenario, he gets made a fool of in the aftermath of the case, but it doesn't hurt him legally anyways. In any case, he's already been fired and he's already had the charge pressed against him. So worst case scenario is just more embarrassment, right? Like that's really what you have to lose here. I don't think that interview did anything to help or hurt his career prospects. They are what they are right now, as it currently stands. I know the timing of the Dennis Rodman movie cancellation kind of suggests that maybe it was the reaction to the interview, but I just don't think that $1 million productions happen and don't happen in a vacuum like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was kind of a hit or miss. But then if it goes well, it goes well for both parties because Disney looks like they're the one that's giving the guy a fair shake to say his piece, and maybe they're not being so biased. And then maybe he has some comeback story let down the line. I know a lot of people made a big deal out of him bringing up the Coretta thing again. Was it the smartest thing to do? I don't know. I don't know, but again, I'm not about to kill this man for saying he wants a wife to be like Coretta Scott. I just with whoever he's dating. I don't think that's a bad thing to aspire to. I really think it's a little bit weird that people are working overtime to make that a bad thing.
Agreed.
It would really be a odd thing if you went in there and be like, God damn, I want me a sexy red. I'll wipe you right now. You know what I'm saying? But somehow, I feel like more people would be comfortable with that description, even for a white woman, than they would with the gall of even trying to compare to a woman like Coretta Scott, anybody for that matter, because y'all got mad at him when he said it about Megan Good too. First it was, oh, we mad because he said it about a white woman. Then he says it about the black woman, like, oh, I actually found my Coretta, and y'all still mad.
It's still a problem.
Still upset.
It's still a problem. And he even said it when he said it like, oh, I know they're probably gonna say something about it, but yeah, she's been like my Coretta. I think he said it knowing how it may sound to some people. I don't think he expected the backlash that he got for it, but at some level, I think he knew.
Leader. And I did read Critical Mass's comment. Going back to the Jonathan Majors thing. First of all, his daughter was trying to sell a book. I don't respect that in the least bit. I don't care about her critiques while she's trying to sell a book, right? Like, he can't mention your mother's name in a exalting way, but you can use this controversy to try and sell merchandise. Yeah, get out my face. She's not a very good example of why we should be criticizing Majors. I will say that I agree with you that maybe he hasn't earned blind faith, and that's cool. I don't suggest that we blindly follow anybody. Even if they've earned it, I don't suggest that we blindly follow anyone. Period.
Yeah, nobody's perfect.
The problem is that when it's clearly not blind and it's biased to a severe degree, to the point where we are looking at the third black man in a decade that this DA has wrongfully charged, leading to some sort of catastrophe in their career. The third. We're still working on Kevin Porter, whose quote-unquote victim never gave a statement to the defense. The charges that are still pending against Kevin Porter have never been corroborated by the quote-unquote witness. Never. She never gave a statement. She never came into the police station. She never called the police. They are charging him based off of pure hearsay. If you don't have to believe me on that, you can listen to her interview that she had with Roland Martin like a month ago. Same Manhattan DA's office that got Jonathan Majors. Not to mention your boy, I can't think of his name right now, but Priya Chaudhry's first client, the one who got convicted and then later had it overturned and has a lawsuit against that office now. But nobody's interested in that shit. No one. Nobody is interested in that shit. Manhattan DA seems very interested in getting black men hemmed up in very iffy cases, in some cases, in situations that didn't even exist. And everybody's focused on Jonathan Majors saying that he wants his woman to be like Coretta Scott. Let's say that he is the most tone-deaf, egotistical, narcissistic person on the planet for saying that. Does it change the fact that he's being railroaded? Or are you telling me he deserves it because he's corny? What's the argument here? And then one more thing. I did watch the interview, and I will shout out the Lindsay. What was the interviewer's name? Lindsay
Davis, I think.
Right now.
Lindsay Davis, I think.
Lindsay Davis, yeah. She called an honest interview. I feel like she called balls and strikes. She asked questions the way that the general American public who doesn't have a dog in the fight, either way, Jonathan Majors fan or not Jonathan Majors fan, would ask a question in these instances. He asked the hard questions and gave him the opportunity to set the record straight on his behalf. I don't feel like she pushed him into any gotchas. even when they did have to get on the more uncomfortable stuff, the phone calls and him talking to, you know, Grace, put her name together, Grace Jabari, I guess we can say her name now. And the whole Coretta Scott stuff, she placed it in a way that she laid it out bare, but she didn't try to rub his nose in it. Like, she just said what it is. Like, you know, some people are kind of, you know, off put or turned off to this whole Coretta Scott thing. What do you have to say about that? And then gave him the floor to answer it. There was no setup. There was no gotcha. There was not, let me work this man into an ultra emotional state and then put it all on camera. We're talking to you, Gail. Right? So the next time there's a black man to interview, y'all send her. Y'all send her. Y'all keep Gail and Oprah. Keep their ass on the sidelines. The next time there's a black man to interview about some controversy, y'all send her.
Facts.
She was a good journalist. She was objective, and she did her job. She didn't pitch a softball. She gave it to him like he was supposed to get it, but she didn't bury him either. It's not her job to kill him on the behalf of everyone who hates Jonathan Majors in America.
Agreed.
It's also not her job to champion him or to sing his praises. She was just a journalist. So I gave that to her. But the biggest, the one thing I wanted to comment on is the response from a channel who's been referenced here a lot. And I'm starting to come to the conclusion that I just think these guys should leave content or commentary that has to do with Black Americans alone. And I'll give you a little bit of context as to why. So I'm talking about ABBA and Preach, right? And obviously, they had something to say about Jonathan Majors in his interview, right? And then I think the general consensus was that it was corny. He's corny. He's a corny guy. And one of the things I was kind of struggling with this whole case is he predicted very early on where this was going to go with the DA. We told you over and over again, we're not lawyers, but seeing what they have, what's been presented so far, and where they're going with these arguments, it seems as though they're going to try and make a character argument. They're going to try and make an emotional appeal to the jury based on who they believe his character to be. And that's what we had laid out, right? A bunch of evidence about arguments that had been had over a year before. In the lead up to the court case, there was all the leaks about prior relationships and prior violence in relationships that never came to light, by the way. No cooperating witnesses from relationships past of Jonathan Majors whatsoever. Not a single person. There was the Rolling Stones article with, all the background from his Yale days and all that other stuff, right? So it was very clearly before and during the trial character assassination, and that's the way that they chose to go. And when the empirical evidence began to kind of wither away for them on their side, that is why we trump up charges. That's why we throw so much stuff at it. That's why we apply so much to it. Because we know worse is worse, we can get down to semantics and technicality and try to make something stick so it doesn't look like we've lost altogether. And that's what ended up happening with Majors. He got charged with unintentionally, potentially harming her. Recklessly. Right? So all of that I just laid out to you in the last 45 seconds, I don't believe that ABBA nor Preach have delved into any last bit of that. They delved into the Chase video probably because that was the most popular thing that happened on the video. What they did not do is lend any credence to the kind of social engineering that is going on the behalf of the Manhattan DA around this whole issue. This idea that we are trying to mold people's mind towards the idea that because he is who we say he is, because his character is flawed, because he may not say the things that you think need to be said, he doesn't reply the way that you think he should reply, he's not mentally stable in the way that we think strong men should be mentally stable, right? He doesn't speak to her nicely, he doesn't treat her nicely, then we should arrest him for assault. We should charge him with assault and harassment. That is what the prosecution said all through their case. That is what the people who constantly bring up, oh my God, Major's team. Guys, we started out at this man choked and beat her in the back of a cab, and we ended up with maybe he injured her by mistake. As he's trying to put her back into a car in the middle of two-lane traffic. That's what we ended up with. We got from here to here, and you're focused on his representation. She came out the gate and told y'all they're trying to railroad a black man. And we've seen how far we came from a brutal abuser all the way back to accidentally, unwittingly doing something. Those two things can't be further apart. And the justification is he's a bad guy. And we got other guys over here talking about, oh, well, he's corny. He should get a new lawyer. There's no focus here. There's no focus on the prize. What the hell were we even in court about? Why were we here? Was that proven at all to the slightest bit of degree? And is how he's being treated in the aftermath fair? Now, we're not going to focus on that. We're going to focus on the salacious. I'm going to take it a step further with Aberrant Preach. I believe some of their more popular content nowadays is taking things that are loosely connected to Black America, talking about it in a negative light without having any real connection, knowledge, or even want to express towards the type of, things that Black Americans go through or what may have led to some of these situations or the greater context around some of them. They just want to profit off of the salaciousness around it. That's why he's so hardened on bringing up black males when he talks about, what are the guys' name? Canceled on YouTube here.
Fresh and Fit.
They want them guys to be like Black Americans so bad because they fit within their description of what they think Black Americans are. Loud, and overly, what does he say a lot? That they're senselessly masculine sometimes, like they go above and beyond with their masculinity for no reason. I happen to think that that's a lot of males. But see, with Abbas especially, he has this thing with putting unnecessary bravado, on black men specifically, when the shit don't even have to deal with black men sometimes. Myron ain't black. Myron is not black. My understanding is Myron is of Arab descent. Then we know, Fit is international black. But I don't hear him going after Jamaicans for some specific character trait that he thinks that they carry. I don't hear him going after people of African descent in Canada, as if they don't replicate everything that happens down here in America anyway. Same thing with brothers in the UK. Same thing with brothers all over the planet, because America is the emulation capital. So in a way, you're really critiquing black people all over the planet because we are the innovators. We're the trendsetters here. There isn't anything that's being done abroad in terms of pop culture, music, fashion, what have you, that isn't being commodified here. And so, like, when they go out of their way to talk about these things sometimes, and every time we always come back to it. We always come back to it. And that's the thing with those black dudes, like those American black dudes. And first of all, you don't think that the people you live around or deal with exhibit any of those traits or do any of those things? And then what is it that makes you make it inherently black? What makes you so comfortable with making it inherently black and then separating it from you and yours? Because if you listen to him and you listen to the way that he critiques black men, it doesn't ever really sound like he's including himself in it. There's not a lot of us and we statements in those, if you pay attention to it. It's a lot of they. I don't understand why they, and I can't understand why they. It's a lot of they. So if it's so much they and you want to create that degree of separation, then let it be they that way permanently. Don't say nigga. Don't say niggas. Leave hip-hop culture alone. Do ballroom permanently. Don't dance hip-hop. Leave black American stuff alone if it is such a detriment, if you believe that it is damaged in such a way that you need to disconnect yourself away from it when you find convenient. I'm really starting to pay attention to it a lot more now because it seems a little bit more targeted every single time we have these, when they was talking about the Keke Palmer shit, right? They wanted to address all black males behind Darius. Excuse me, all black American males. Because once again, we create that degree of separation. oh, I'm from Ethiopia, yada yada yada, lived in Canada, preaches Haitian, lives in Canada, we have different backgrounds. But you can't appreciate that difference of experience or backgrounds from people from the States. There's always some sort of lower level thinking when you are addressing Black Americans.
Facts.
Always. Consistent. He has a problem with that, man. I don't like that shit.
I agree. I mean, when it's thought of what Black Americans are as sexy red and blue face, I mean, that's bound to happen.